Hello, welcome back to A D in the Life, or welcome if you've never been here before. I mostly chat about books and book recs, and sometimes I talk about other things, but it's really just all cozy vibes. One of these days I'll actually get an intro down, I swear. Until then, let's just get started. Okay, so fun video today. We are going to go through every single book series that I am currently in the middle of. If you're new to me at all, then you might not know this about me, but I am a chronic book series starter and not a chronic book series finisher. So at the beginning of this year, I started my book series roulette videos where I forced myself to continue series that I'm in the middle of. And at the beginning of the year, we started with, I think, 46 series. I was in the middle of 46 series. We're now in the 30s, hallelujah, but I thought it would be more fun instead of me just blabbing about every series to actually rank them in the order of how likely I'm going to end up finishing them. The categories are, starting from the top, I'd marry this series if I could, which are just book series that either I'm fully caught up on, just waiting for a new one to come out, or it's on my immediate priority list to read the next book soon. Then we go down to on my roster. These are kind of the book series that are in rotation. I pick them up pretty regularly. I just, again, have so many books I want to read that I don't have time to prioritize literally finishing it, but I want to, and I will. Right in the middle, we've got just taking some space. Honestly, these are just book series that I'm actively avoiding finishing for no real reason. They're just not my priority. Second from the bottom are book series that might be more of a situationship. These are ones that I need serious convincing to keep going. Deep, deep down, I want to finish them, but I need like an extra push. And at the bottom, the last category is it's over. These are book series that I have literally 0.001% chance of finishing for various reasons, which we will talk about. All right, so I think with that, we should just get started. All right, here's our beautiful list. Because I included series that are fully up to date and series that I don't plan on finishing, this is actually more than the 40 plus series that I'm in the middle of, but I wanted to talk about all of them. So right now we're looking at, what's 28 times 2? 56, 57, 58, 59. Almost 60 series. So, starting with The Tourist Attraction, which I believe the series is called the Moose Springs series. It's a total of 4 books. I've only read the first book. I read it years ago. I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember really loving it, obviously. I think there are 2 more books and a Christmas novella. I just haven't ever felt the need to pick it back up. Nobody talks about the series, so I'm just gonna put it in probably just a situationship. The chances are low of me ever finishing them, but never say never. Richard Osman, We Solve Murders is going into I'd marry this series if I could. Easy, I will read anything that man writes. There's only 1 book out in this series so far, but there is a second one coming out this fall. And if it's anything like the Thursday Murder Club, the second book will be better than the first, and I'm very much looking forward to that. Everyone in my family has killed someone. Now, I don't actually know if this series is done. I'm telling myself it's not because it is one of my favorites. I wouldn't say it's a cozy mystery series, but it's definitely more mystery than thriller. This is one of the most unique mystery series I think ever. The narrator breaks down the 4th wall, coaching you through how to solve each mystery in the series. Book 1 takes place in a cabin where the whole family gets snowed in. Book 2 takes place on a train. Book 3 is technically a Christmas novella that takes place at a theater. And book 4 just came out and that takes place in a bank. Anyways, I love it and I really, really hope it's not over. The Rocky series is technically interconnected women's contemporary fiction. I'm also going to marry this if I could. There's only 2 books out. I have no idea if there are any plans for any more. I've read both books. The second book is Wreck. It follows the matriarch of a New England family. I do think you have to have New England humor in order to enjoy the books. She is a tough mother. She also has like a strong personality and I love her. And I love these books. And they're short. Beartown. Beartown is gonna have to go in just taking space. I read the first book this year. I kept putting it off because it's long. Frederick Bachman's writing can be hard to read, and this one was no different. This book series takes place in a town in Sweden where everything that happens in that town revolves around their junior hockey team. That's like their pride and joy. It's kind of like Friday Night Lights. By the end of the first book, I loved it and I do want to keep reading it, but I just need my space from it right now. I think I'll probably try to read at least the second book before the end of the year, but I do want it to be a little bit colder outside and maybe I'll finish the series by the end of the year. That's a stretch goal though. Okay, Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers goes into I'd marry the series if I could. There's 2 books out right now. There is a 3rd book coming out, but I am up to date. This is peak cozy mystery, one of the best audiobooks. It's basically this older Asian mother who owns a tea shop and gets herself involved in a murder that happens in her tea shop. So she's an amateur sleuth. There's a fantastic found family in book 1. The mystery in book 2 was a little bit different and I didn't love it, but audiobook made it worth it. Okay, Abby and Mena's Say You'll Remember Me. So this is a 2-book interconnected romance series. This is on my roster. A new book just came out called The Night We Met, and it is on my list to read. I'll get to it eventually. I'm not really in a super rush right now. First book was really just like strangers to lovers. The second book, to my knowledge, is a love triangle, which is an interesting concept for Miss Abby, but I will obviously read it. I've heard fantastic things. Okay, Thursday Murder Club. I think you guys know how I feel about this series. I'd marry it if I could. Probably like at the tippity top. So let's actually put it there. If you don't know this about me by now, one of my favorite series of all time, favorite mystery series for sure. It's about 4 retirees. They live in a retirement community in England. They are amateur sleuths. They get involved in all these different murders. Best found family, best cast of characters. Book 1 is good. Book 2 is incredible. They get better and better. I am assuming there's going to be another one because there is simply no way I will accept that it's over. Booked? What even is this? Booked for Murder. This was sadly an arc. I think there are 2 in this mystery series. Unfortunately, it is over for me. I can't remember the plot at all, and there are other mystery series that I like better and would prefer. I think I didn't like the writing. I honestly can't remember what it was about it. I just didn't like it. The X-Hex is technically going in just taking space, but hear me out. So this is a 3-book interconnected witchy romance rom-com series. I have read books 1 and 2. There's only one left, but it takes place around Christmas. I wanted to read it last Christmas, but I ran out of time. So I'm 1000% going to read it this Christmas. I'm not touching it until then. Okay. A Not So Meet Cute by Megan Quinn. I have a love-hate relationship with Megan Quinn. I don't know what it is. No, I'm lying. I know what it is. It's the way she writes dialogue. I simply cannot deal with it. In A Not So Meet Cute, which is a billionaire romance, I read this as part of like a random book club I did a while ago. Everyone was raving about it and I was sitting there reading this like this is the worst book ever. Obviously that's a little dramatic, but it's certainly not for me and I have pretty much no intention of continuing this. I think I only like Megan Quinn's books when the ridiculousness of her dialogue matches the ridiculousness of the story. And that's why a holiday romance, I think it worked for me in that scenario. Like in that book, they literally do some weird kinky shit with a candy cane. In this one, they're just rich and I couldn't do it. And then I heard that in the second book, the main female character is worse than in the first book. So I'm thinking this one is over. Oh, I think that series is called the Kane Brothers series also. I don't actually think it's called A Not So Meet Cute. Then we have, I think this series is called the Situationship Chronicles. This one I'm kind of really sad about. I only read The Lies of Lena and I didn't really like it. And everyone raves about it, including one of my best friends. The second half got like a little bit more interesting if I remember correctly. But then like at the end there was some weird stuff going on. It was so long and I've heard the second book is even longer. I think there's also supposed to be a third book. I don't know. So this goes in probably just a situationship. I will need a lot of convincing in order to continue with that series. Then we have the Big Fan Interconnected Romance series. It's a series of novellas. I've already read books 1 and 2. Book 3 is coming out later this year. It's under the 831 Stories umbrella. I love this author so much. First book was like a celebrity normal person-ish romance. Second book was kind of like a return to hometown, ex-high school, rival relationship. If you ask me what a perfect romance novella was, Big Fan is it. The spice was perfect. It wasn't cringy. It wasn't cheesy. Perfect length. No notes. 10 out of 10 recommend. So A Curse of Breath and Blood. I don't even know what the series is. This was another arc that I had in my early days. And I believe there are werewolves. And that's all I remember. So it's going in, it's over. I remember I didn't like it. I put it in here and I'm like, literally don't remember what this is. Moving on. Murder by Cheesecake. So this is a cozy mystery series featuring the Golden Girls. I think there are 2 books. I don't know if there's going to be more. I kind of hated it. So it's going into its over. Now I will say I haven't watched the Golden Girls. However, I think all of my feedback was legit. 70% of it was about a wedding and 30% of it was about the mystery. And that just is not what I want in a cozy mystery. So I'm just saying there are better cozy mystery series out there. Okay, this one's so good. Conform is going into I'd marry this series if I could. So this is a This is a dystopian romance series. It's supposed to be a 9-book series that consists of 3 separate trilogies. So I've only read the first 2 that have been out, which is Conform and Beneath. Conform is the first book in the current day trilogy. Beneath is the first book in the past time period trilogy. Can't speak. The 2 books felt so vastly different. Beneath was darker, slow burn romance. Oh my god, the romance was so good. Spicy. Conform has a little bit of a love triangle element to it. It's also a little bit more of glitz and glam post-apocalyptic. In the future even more. They basically rebuilt society. Anyways, I love them both so much and I cannot wait to see where the rest of the series goes. I highly, highly, highly recommend. Seriously. Good Spirits by B.K. Borson. Now, B.K. Borson's gonna be an interesting experience in this video. Good Spirits, technically, I am up to date. There's only been 1 book out. However, it goes in the on my roster category because I don't want to marry it. I will read the next one when it comes out, but I'm not oh my god, I need the next book immediately. This is a paranormal holiday romance-esque situation. It was good. I liked it. I forget what the name of the second one is, and I don't think that one is going to be Christmassy holiday themed. So again, that makes me feel less pressure to read it right when it comes out. Okay, Serpent and Dove. I've read books 1 and 2 a long time ago, back when I was first reading again. It's a Romantasy series, but I think it's YA Romantasy with witches specifically. No, is it witches? I think it's witches. I did enjoy it, but they're very long. There is only 1 book left, and I didn't not like the first 2 books. I can't really remember the plot very well, and I feel like I'd have to read a recap. And again, it's another series that nobody talks about, so is it even that good? I don't remember. So I'm gonna put it in prob just a situationship. The Bellinger Sisters, aka It Happened One Summer, and I forget what the second book is called. I've only read the first book, and it was really a tough time. This is a book that made me solidify the fact that Tessa Bailey is not my type of romance author, so this one goes and it's over. I hate leaving things unfinished, especially when there's only 2 books. But it was long. It was fake grumpy book boyfriend. I hated how the spice was written, but that's just a me and Tessa thing. We just don't jive. I don't think I'm ever gonna pick up the second one. Okay, so the Molly the Maid series. I've only read the first book. I read that earlier on in my reading journey, and since then I have read way worse mystery thriller books. This one does again kind of teeter in the middle. The main female character irked me. Some of her decision making I just couldn't deal with, but it was kind of a fun little mystery, and I like the setting, set at a hotel. I would like to try out maybe 1 more book in the series to see how I feel about it, but for now I'm gonna put it in prob just a situationship. If you've read the series, let me know if I should keep going. Now, see, Bride I think is technically over. There's only 2 books, Bride and Mate. It's a paranormal romance interconnected duo from one of my favorite authors of all time, Ellie Hazelwood. I would just really love another one because I ate both of them up, both 5-star reads. Vampire werewolf romance in the first, werewolf hybrid werewolf romance in the second. Banter in both of these books, the spice, the slow burn, the vibes, the found family. I just they're perfect. They're literally perfect. So Miss Allie, if you are thinking about it, I would happily take a 3rd. Just saying. Okay, funny you should ask. This is kind of iffy because I don't think it's exactly a series, but there's a second book that Alyssa Sussman published, I think last year, called Totally and Completely Fine, which is technically interconnected with Funny You Should Ask, and I do need to read it. It's going under on my roster because it is on my radar to read. I just haven't picked it up yet for whatever reason because I loved Funny You Should Ask. That is a celebrity normal person romance. And the second book, I think it's the sister of the celebrity in book 1. I don't really remember, but I need to read it. Okay, BK, Love Light Farms. This is so interesting to me because Love Light Farms was not my first book by BK Borson. It was my second. We'll get to my first book in a second. This one, however, I think is her only single POV romance that exists. And this one is also a holiday romance. It's a 4-book interconnected romance series, and each book takes place during a different season. So the next one is set in the spring. I do have it on deck to read the next one. So I'm going to put it on my roster because I would like to read it this spring, but I am a little nervous because I know the rest of the books are not single POV, and I have recently realized unless I really like the main male character, I don't always love dual POV. I like not really knowing the inner thoughts of the man. Otherwise it starts feeling too insta-love, and I don't like that. So as long as it doesn't feel like insta-love, then it's okay, but that's kind of hard to do. Anyways, I did like Love Light Farms. I actually really thought that was a fantastic Christmas romance. And I will continue the series. I think we've gone through more than half at this point. Okay, so we've got the Women in Cabin 10, which I think is called the Low Blacklock series. I don't know if there are plans for there to be more than 2. I read the first one. This is just a very mediocre thriller in my opinion, but I do love a locked room mystery, and this takes place on a really big, like, fancy luxury yacht. I don't know what the second book is about. I don't even remember what it's called. Oh, I think it's The Woman in Suite 11 or something like that. I don't know if I'm gonna read it. I need more people to tell me if that one is good. So for now, I'm gonna put it in Prob just a situationship because I don't know. I don't know. Quicksilver, or I believe the series is called Fate and Alchemy. As of now, there's supposed to be 3 books. I've only read Quicksilver. Brimstone is the second book. It's out already. I haven't read it yet. I don't remember what the third book is called, but it's coming out this fall. I need to read Brimstone. I loved Quicksilver for what it was, which was just like an easy, consumable romantasy. I didn't really have to use my brain. I had a good time. It was spicy, fast-paced. Here's my thing with fantasy, romantasy series specifically. I hate when couple's love story gets dragged out over too many books. I want the second book to be about a different couple. And I think that Brimstone is still about, I don't remember the friggin' characters' names. So for that, it's going under Just Taking Space. I will finish it. I've also heard not great things about Brimstone, so no part of me feels rushed to read it right away. But it is a gorgeous book and I literally own it. And even though I own it, I'm going to read it on Kindle because it is like the thickest book to ever exist. I mean, that's not true, but she is thick. Anyways, that's my spiel on that. I don't even know what I just said for the last like 5 minutes. What is this series called? I think it's called Into the Darkness, which makes no sense because let me tell you, it's not a very dark romance, I gotta say. Oh, Into Darkness. So the first book is Lights Out. Second book is Caught Up. Third book is Game On. I've only read Lights Out. Another fine period romance. I did really like the audiobook, and that's what brought the story up to, I think, over 3-star rating. Otherwise, it would have been lower because it is insta love. Not very dark. I feel like it hinted at dark spicy scenes and then those scenes never came to fruition, and that actually pissed me off more than if it had just not been that dark of a romance. I think this might just be a situationship unless somebody really convinces me I need to read the next book ASAP. This is another one where I haven't heard like fantastic things about the next book, so why should I prioritize it? So this next series, I had to look this up, is called the UCMH series. The first book is the wildly popular Icebreaker. I stand corrected, it's also known as the Maple Hill series. I love when an interconnected romance series has 2 different names. If that gives you any indication of how I feel about the series, it should. So I read Icebreaker and Wildfire. I read Icebreaker years ago. I kind of ate it up. I do think I've come to the conclusion that sports romance isn't my favorite subset of spicy romance, but I enjoyed it. The plot was probably not really there, but I had a good time. Then I read Wildfire, the second book, and I almost lost my mind. It was too long. It was set at a summer camp, so there was like even less sports, and somehow that made it worse. I didn't like the characters. I just remember it being like probably 150 pages too long. Anyway, so I haven't picked up Daydream because I don't really want to, but it's the only book left in the series. And again, I hate leaving things unfinished, especially when it's one thing left. I don't know. If I'm being realistic, it's probably over. Somebody would probably have to either erase my memory or do the best convincing job of their entire life to get me to read Daydream. So if you think you're up for it, my comments are open. All right, the Knock 'Em Out series. I have mixed feelings about this one. I've only read the first book, Things We Never Got Over. This is another romance, interconnected romance series. Small town, very grumpy man. I enjoyed the first book, but it was also way too long. And everyone says that, so this is not just a me thing. And I would like to get to the third book because a lot of people say that one is fantastic. My other toxic trait is I will not skip around. So I don't care if it's just interconnected and you don't really need to read the second book. It will probably give me hives to only read books 1 and 3 and just skip over 2 and never read it. I would like to pick this series back up again. I don't know when. So I'm going to put it in Just Taking Space, and that is very ambitious of me to put it there, but I'm going to put it there. A Gourd of Thorns and Roses. I would so marry this series if I could. I think we all knew it wasn't complete, but Sarah J. Maas has just announced there's going to be at least 3 more books in the series, and I literally can't wait. And if you don't know what the series is, you must be living under a rock. Book 2, best book of the series. The Twisted series. Yeah. This one's an interesting one for me. So I hated Twisted Love, like really, really hated it. This is another situation where I think I just don't jive with the author's dialogue or style of dialogue. I blocked out the fact that apparently the main male character sings a song in this book. I don't remember it, and I think it's because I just already didn't like the book, but I probably was just skimming it and didn't realize he was actually singing. For some reason, I feel like I should give it another shot because so many people love this series. I'm gonna put it in prob just a situationship because I haven't fully felt like I'm done, but that is so far from the top of my priority. Oh, I don't even think I said what it is. It's an interconnected romance series. I've done very little research on this series, to be honest. It just is all over the book talk, the bookstagram, etc. Oh, we're back to Abby Jimenez. The Friend Zone series is on my roster. I just have one book left in the series, so I read The Friend Zone, Happy Ever After playlist. I forget what the last book is called. I wouldn't say I love these books per se. Her newer books are way better, but it's just one left, and I would like to get through her entire backlist. So I'll read it eventually. Honestly, probably just when it comes up in the roulette machine because maybe I should put it under Just Taking Space then, because it's not really a priority. Okay, I've moved it. Oh, the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. Okay, what is this series called? The Dream Harbor series. That's what it's called. I think there's like 7 books in the series, and I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. I like borderline hated the first book. The insta love was crazy. The miscommunication was crazy. The main characters acted like children. The cheese level was like 100, and I can only go up to like 80. Anyways, I was overconfident and I bought books 1 and 2 on my Kindle. So I do at least want to read the second book, also because a lot of people say it gets much better after the first book. So it is going on Just Taking Space, but just know that I hate it. But I do plan on reading at least the second book. Okay, the Chestnut Springs series. I have read the first 3 and they do get better as you go on, I think. So Flawless was fine, period. This is a cowboy interconnected romance series. Actually, my first cowboy romance. Have I read any others? I don't think I've even read any others. And each book is, I think, surrounding a romance with one of the brothers in this family. Book 2, Heartless, was a age gap nanny single dad romance. Ate it up, honestly. Spicy. People hate the main male character in that one, and I loved him, but I love a grumpy guy, so, you know. Third book was Friends to Lovers, which I usually hate, but I loved it. I think because the spice was like the most spicy so far in like a more unique way and not just rinse and repeat. So I will continue the series for sure. I'm gonna finish it. It's on my roster, let's say, because I am kind of itching to read the next one. Six of Crows. Ugh, I love this duology so much. So technically it's complete and I would 100% marry it. There is supposed to be a third book, but it's just like a novella. I think it's a collection of letters, which I also love an epistolary novel. So, okay, fun. I will 100% be reading it when it comes out. I love this series so much. It's a fantasy, dark gothic, YA fantasy, but doesn't feel too YA. I was confused in the beginning, but it's so worth it. The Found Family is iconic, audiobook fantastic. I think it's 6 different POVs. First book is a heist. Second book, Crooked Kingdom, is more of like a revenge plot, but I still love that one too. Emily Wilde. She's going in Just Taking Space. For some reason, I'm not super pressed to keep reading it. It had a very slow start. This is kind of like a cozy, light academia fantasy where Emily Wilde is like a professor studying fairies. First book is set in the late fall, winter. Second book is also set in the fall. I thought it was set in the spring based on the cover, but it's not. There's only 3 books total. I did really love the audiobook though, I will say. I've heard the second book is actually better than the first, so I do want to read them. But again, not feeling pressured to. The Spoons series by Tara DeWitt. First book is Savor It. Second book is Left of Forever. Third book I believe is called Lost and Found. It's not out yet, but when it comes out, it will go on my roster. Loved Left of Forever. I really enjoyed Savor It too, but Left of Forever was incredible, and it's a second chance romance, which is another trope that I don't love. I think the third book has a pregnancy trope in it, which is not my favorite. I also think it's Friends to Lovers, also not my favorite, but I have heard really great things. I've heard it will probably make me cry. I'm sure it has the perfect level of spice, just like the other books did. So I will read it, but I'm not going to be like immediately reading it the second it comes out, but I will read it. Okay, the Cheat Sheet series. I think there's only 2 books. I kind of hated the cheat sheet, so I did not read the second book, which is called The Rule Book. I just remember the miscommunication trope in this one was absurd. And if the characters had just, admitted their feelings to each other, 75% of the book wouldn't have existed. And this is a case where dual POV doesn't work for me because I am witnessing them both feeling the exact same about each other and neither one wants to tell each other. And that is a dumb plot to me. If I remember correctly, it also is really cheesy. And I feel like nobody really talks about the second book being that good. I know people love her other series, which I think is called the Rome, Kentucky series, maybe, because the first book is One in Rome. I've considered picking that one up, but I need to get through these first. So anyways, this one's over. We Are All Guilty Here is the first book in the North Falls thriller series by Karen Slaughter. This is actually the first Karen Slaughter book I ever read, and I gobbled it up. So good. I didn't even care that it was long. I loved it. So I will 100% be reading the next one. I'm gonna put it in No, I'm actually gonna put it on my roster because I feel weird about marrying it because it was like super dark and her writing is very dark and I don't know that I would marry it. It's about a detective who's investigating a missing persons case in her hometown. I think it's set in Georgia in like the middle of summer. Very good summer thriller vibes if you're looking for that. Okay, so the Wicked Games series is a dark romantasy series, very spicy. Phantasma and Enchantra are out. I read both of them. Third book, I don't think she's announced the name of it. I will 100% be reading it, but it's gonna go on my roster. Phantasma was good, not great. I will say Enchantra was even better, and I do love when a series gets better and better. So I do have intentions of reading the third, and I think maybe it could get bumped up to I'd Marry It. Basically, in both the books, there's like kind of an element of an enchanted house with a bunch of games, hence the Wicked Games. I love a fantasy with trials. First book, the main male character, I was obsessed with. Second book, the main female character I was obsessed with. And the main male character was hot too. And I have high hopes for the next one. Okay, the Atlas 6 series by Olivia Blake is going in Just Taking Space. I read this book 2, maybe 3 years ago. It's a fantasy, dark academia. Olivia's writing is just kind of hard to get through. Like you're having fun while reading it. By the end of the book, you're just like, whoa, I need a breather. This book, if I remember correctly, it's about these, I can't remember if they're teenagers or college graduates that get recruited into some magical academy of sorts. That's kind of all I remember. I read it a while ago. I do intend on finishing the series because I did enjoy it, but I don't even own the second book, so I'm not really rushed to finish it right now, but I would like to. Okay, Letters of Enchantment. So I read Divine Rivals, loved it. Heard that the second book, Ruthless Vows, kind of sucks, so I haven't read it. Then I read Wild Reverence, which is the prequel. Didn't love that one. So now I'm very iffy on if I will ever read Letters of Enchantment. So honestly, it might be a situationship. I would like to read it. It's not long. It's cozy fantasy. I really love the romance in the first book. I've just heard bad things, so I don't really feel like reading it, but I do need to. So I'm actually gonna move it to Just Taking Space. I've decided. Okay, Fourth Wing, aka the Empyrean series, goes into I'd Marry It if I could. Love the series. Have loved all 3 books so far. Will be first in line to read the next one. This is a romantasy series with dragons, dragon riders, lots of government secrets. Xaden is one of my favorite grumpy fantasy book boyfriends. Love him. Love the series. No notes. I don't really care that some people don't like it. I love it. We finally get to the first book I ever read by B.K. Borson that I didn't really like. So the Heartstrings series is going to go into Just a Situationship. I have heard mixed things about the second book, and now back to you, which is making it even harder to convince myself to read it. I said I was going to. I said I was going to give it a second chance, and now I don't know. My problems with the first book was that I thought it was a little bit long, a little bit slow. Some of the scenes gave me an ick, specifically the dry humping one. But the last 30% I loved, so I was like, maybe I'll like the second one, but I just worry that I won't. So I don't know that I'm going to prioritize it. Okay, The Midnight Library is an interconnected, I guess it's like romance fiction. I'm not really sure what type of genre it is, to be honest, but it's going in I'd Marry this series if I could. I am a Midnight Library truther. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I would go into blind. The whole premise of the book is really just if you could redo your choices in life, would you, and what would that look like? It has some heavy topics, but I still loved it. And he is coming out with a book called The Midnight Train, which I actually have a physical arc of. It lives in the same universe. It's not really connected per se, but I think there's some similar themes themes and maybe a similar world. I'm not really sure, but I'm really, really excited for it. Okay, the Crowns of Nyaxia. Crowns of Naxia? I don't know how to say it. Anyways, this Romantasy series with vampires. Read the first book. I gave it 4.5 stars. I loved it. For some reason, I can't bring myself to keep reading it. So I'm gonna put it on my roster because I do want to keep reading it. I just need like a kick in the butt. I do intend to continue the series because vampires, trials, vampires, slow burn. It was so good. The Boys of Tommen. I don't know where to put it. This is another series where part of me wants to give it one more shot. I didn't hate the first book, but it was very long. I didn't want to read about teenagers dating or hooking up or doing the deed. I was kind of just like pissed off the entire time. I didn't cry. I was just mad. And I just don't know if I want to keep going, but it does feel like a series that deserves a second chance. So I'm going to put it in just a situationship. It might end up in It's Over. Okay, Anna Maria and the Fox. I think this series is called The Luna Sisters. 3-book interconnected historical romance. I read the first book. I didn't love it. I didn't like the writing. The plot was kind of pretty ridiculous. However, no, it's probably over if I'm being serious. Like I probably will never touch that series again. It's not terrible. It just, there's so many other books I want to read, and this is another series that nobody talks about, and I feel like probably because it's just mediocre. Okay, the Ruinous Love Trilogy. So I've now officially read the first 2 books, Butcher and Blackbird, Leather and Lark. Dark romance, serial killer romance. For some reason, they just don't hit for me. But this is just taking space. I will finish it. There's 1 book left. I want to know how it ends. I want to know what happens with the 3rd brother. So I'll read it. Okay, the Inheritance Games. I will finish this. I want to finish it. It's going under Just Taking Space. So this is a YA, I think it's YA, romantic suspense mystery type series. It's a very confusing plot. Basically, this girl inherits a house mansion from this man, and there's 2 brothers that live in the mansion that she like kind of has a thing with, so it's a little bit of a love triangle. I don't remember what happens between book 1 and 2 and 3. I read the first 3. I think there's only 1 left, and I do want to read it. Okay guys, we're in the home stretch. We've got 10 left. Direbound. I don't know if that's what the series is called. I'm assuming yes. So this is my first DNF in over a year. I was so sad about it. It's literally a Temu 4th wing with werewolves. I wanted to love it. I got about halfway. It just was not good enough. And it was too similar to 4th Wing for it to not be good enough. Like if I'm gonna read a plot that feels similar, I want it to be incredible, and it just wasn't. So here we are. I'm gonna put it in, I think It's Over. It wasn't the worst book ever, but it just didn't feel like something I needed to read. The Housemaid series, probably just a situationship. I read books 1 and 2. I don't think these are as impressive as everyone says they are, especially knowing that The Housemaid is the same exact plot as I think it's called The Last Mrs. Parrish, which came first. The Housemaid's Secret, I think, is number 2. Honestly, thought that one was worse. It just feels like a very repetitive thriller plot. Not super inventive, very predictable. I feel like none of it surprised me. It was fast-paced, don't get me wrong. I feel like it's a good entry-level thriller, but I don't really intend on finishing it. However, this is another scenario where there's one left and then a novella, and like I could finish it if I really felt like checking off the box. Okay, the Sparrow Fall series, my first real foray into romantic suspense, and I had a great time with it. This is definitely just taking space, and hear me out as to why. I do like it, but it is kind of repetitive. Like the plot is pretty similar in each one, and I fear that if I read them too close together, I will stop liking them. So I'm 3 books in. I think there are 6 total. It's found family, small town romance. This woman has a whole like hodgepodge of children. Some are her own, a lot are adopted. They're all adults, and each one has their own story. Each one has kind of a different trope focus, and they each have a plot twist. And in books 1 and 2, I didn't guess it, and I was super impressed. Book 3, I did guess the plot twist. So that's why I'm going to take a break for now, and I will get back to it eventually. I think it's called the Sorrow Song University duo. I think it's only 2 books, Nightshade, and I forget what the second book is called. I will be reading it. This is on my roster. Honestly, I'll probably read it very close to release date. It's a dark academia romance set at this like academy of sorts, but they're adults, and the academy is separated into 4 different factions, very similar to Harry Potter, which I don't mind. This one did start to get a little bit insta-lovey for me, but now a wrench has been thrown into it all. That was basically the cliffhanger, and so I'm ready for book 2. Loved it. I like to say that this book is like if Ali Hazelwood wrote a dark academia romance with more murder and less STEM. The Castle Knoll Files. So I have read books 1 and 2. This is on my, I can't get it up there. This is on my I'd marry the series if I could. I'm planning on reading the newest one basically tomorrow. Sometime around when this goes live, I'll be in the middle of this book. Cozy mystery series set in the English countryside. It's about this girl that inherits a house from her great aunt, and then each book has a mystery happening in real time, and then we go into a separate timeline in the past where her great aunt is solving something else or like dealing with something else. And I love every single one of the books, and I'm excited to read this next one. And I'm assuming there'll probably be more than 3, but I don't know. Magnolia Parks is going in. It's over because the author is problematic. And that's on that. I only read the first book. I read it a long time ago. It took me a long time to read. I liked it, didn't love it. So therefore, I'm honestly not even really that sad about it. Okay, The Knight and the Moth is going into on my roster. I love Rachel Gillig. The Shepherd King duology, One Dark Window, Two Twisted Crowns, one of my favorite duologies ever. I didn't love The Knight and the Moth as much. I still loved it, but it ranks 3rd in all of her books. However, in that duology, the second book was 10 times, well, not 10 times better, but significantly better than book 1. And I'm hoping the same thing happens here. So I'm very excited to read The Knave and the Moon, I think is what it's called. It comes out around my birthday, I'm pretty sure. I will read it probably immediately when it's released. Kiss of the Basilisk is going into It's Over. So this is the most unhinged, spicy romantasy I think I've ever read. I think it's considered Why Choose. It's like monster romance also. There was so much in this. So much. To the point where it wasn't necessary. I was skimming, I think, like the entire second half of the book. I think the second book is even more spice, less plot, and so I don't really feel like I need to read it. Okay, so the Cerulean Chronicles, I think is just a duo. The first book is A House in the Cerulean Sea. Second one, I think, is Somewhere Beyond the Sea. I haven't read it yet. I do plan to at some point. This one's gonna go in Just Taking Space. I'm not really in a rush to read it. I feel like I haven't heard amazing things about it, but I will read it eventually. I love The House in the Cerulean Sea. It's a cozy, found family fantasy about a man who works for the government, and he is kind of in charge of foster care for magical children. Just so cute, so wholesome. One of my favorite audiobooks of all time. Last one is Assistant to the Villain series. This one is going under Just Taking Space. I have mixed feelings about this one because the last book was like almost like the last straw for me, but I need to see the end of it. This book was supposed to be a 3-book trilogy, and then I think they decided to extend it. I'm assuming the publishers wanted it, and I feel like you could tell in the 3rd book that it was way longer than it needed to be. Too many details. Everything was drawn out. The slow burn is somehow still slow burning after 3 books, both in terms of the storyline and the romance. But I need to know how this series ends, and so I will finish it when it comes out, but I'm not pressed for it, honestly. This is definitely a checkbox one. Okay, there's the final breakdown. She's beautiful, if you ask me. Okay, so I was going to do a second segment in this titled Side Pieces, aka the series that I want to start, but I fear that that will make this video too long. So let me know if that is of interest in maybe a part 2. And I need to go chug some water because my throat feels like it's about to fall out of my mouth. Let me know in the comments if any of the series that I said I don't want to continue need to be bumped up my priority list, or if any are too high and I should just quit while I'm ahead. Anyways, we'll leave it there. As always, thanks for hanging, and I hope to see you next time.